So, I'm just going to preface this video by saying everything I'm discussing right now is not in a direct attack towards any corporation, but it's just a word of advice for all of you who use social media. So that's pretty much every single person that's watching this video. So now let's get right into the video, guys. Why should you read the terms and conditions? Well, guys, the terms and conditions are there for our very well-being. It's there for their protection, and it's there for our protection. Now, who's the there? The there is the company. For example, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, Yelp, MySpace, if you still even have that, and just a bunch of social media that lots of people use in this day and age. And since social media is such a main focal point for advertisers and a bunch of new startup companies, most of their terms and conditions are usually placed at the end of when you're signing up for an account. And when you're signing up for an account, it usually asks for basic information that apparently now anyone is not reluctant to give anymore. For example, they would ask you for your first name, your last name, your email address, where you live, your phone number if you want to, a backup email, and if you're setting this up on a phone, it's even more extensive. And what I mean by more extensive is basically you're asked even more permission from the app developer. They usually follow up after all of those things that you put in. Hey, can we access your camera? Hey, can we access your microphone? Hey, can we access your contacts so we can send them any referrals, or we can notify you when they sign up on the same app that you're on? Guys, all of these requests that they're asking for is blatant, obvious, in front of your face. So every time you sign up for an app, all of this goes into a standard procedure. We all go through the same thing, and we all consent to these actions that these app developers, website developers, or basic social media that we're on a computer as well. And they always ask this set of questions. And what do? We reluctantly accept without actually knowing, to our knowledge, what is being recorded and what data is not being recorded. What can they see, what can they manipulate, and what is in their reach in terms of the data they collect on us on a day-to-day basis. So now I'm going to get right into that, guys. What do they collect? First example, we're going to discuss the chairman of Google. He was what's it called? He testified against Congress last year in 2018, and he was directed a bunch of questions that really were asked by a group of people in Congress that are not the smartest on technology, in my opinion. Personally, the link I provided that is a reference material towards what I'm discussing about right now was a CNN video, so please don't give me any hate on that. I even recognize that video is not good, but I used it for purpose of trying to make this video and giving you a perspective. Of course, I'm not just using them as an only source on this whole video. I'm using multiple sources, which I use to construct what I am now calling, an awareness for everyone who uses social media. So in this shortened clip of the YouTube video, CNN kind of portrays the Google congressman as a really bad guy. I mean, who knows? Maybe the guy is actually pretty good, or he could actually be pretty bad. Either way, but every time a congressman were to ask a question, they would always want a yes or no response. But the thing with that is, it's almost 50-50 each time, because each question which was presented to The chairman was, for example, Representative Ted Poe from Texas. He asked, "Does Google know I am sitting here, or when I'm walking over there?" And then he proceeded to point in the direction of a door, which he was giving for reference point as to where he was sitting and where he was going to go. The thing with that question is that is a terribly phrased question. You cannot simply answer that question for the reason that in your phone, when you have that specific app open, okay, for example, I'll throw out Google Maps. Google Maps, in order for it to function correctly, needs to know your location. It needs to have access to your GPS so it knows where to take you when you need to know where you're going. So, you see what I'm getting at? In certain circumstances, yes, Google does know where you're standing and where you're going to go because it's helping you in the process. You see, the congressmen cannot get that through their heads sometimes. It can't always be a no and it can't always be a yes. But when their motive for asking these questions is blatantly obvious at times. "Oh, I gotcha now." That congressman definitely had that saying going through his head a million times each second once he asked the chairman that question. I can almost guarantee that's what went through his thick skull. So, now let's get into another representative, which was also on there. Doug Collins from Georgia. Welcome, Doug. So his question was, do you collect name, age, and address when creating an account? Obviously, like I stated beforehand, yes, you have to. Usually, I would say 8 times out of 10, usually when signing up for a new website or a new app, you have to put that information. That's just how things are. Search history, yes, of course. In terms of the amount of searches you input into the Google search engine, that's usually saved in your personal catalog, I would say, and that's in heavy quotation marks. That's just me, giving you an example of that. It's for the reason that Google usually targets some content, some advertising content, to be catered towards what you like. Because can you imagine going on Google, right, and then you see a ridiculous advertisement about how there's a new anti-agent that's out on the market and is being field tested by millions of elderly people? You're going to be sitting there like, what the hell is on my screen? Why am I being considered an elderly person when I'm literally 18 years old, sitting in my bedroom alone watching YouTube videos on a makeup tutorial? I mean, the makeup tutorial could tie in with the aging process, but despite that, you're not old, you're young. Why are you being targeted these types of ads? So what Google does, it takes your searching history in a way to where it caters some things you've been visiting to. Oh, maybe you're shopping for a car. It'll give you advertisements towards cars that are similar to what you were searching for. Let's say there's a high volume in terms of a certain meme that portrays a politician within the times that you're in, such as 2019, any big political moves, anything, whether it be negative or positive. And usually, more so than not, every single thing that pops up in the Google search results is sometimes negative. And the reason that it's negative is not because Google is one-sided or biased. That's not how things work, okay? Yes, people program these things and program certain algorithms. But the thing is, when there's such a sheer high volume of searches per day, per hour, per second being generated on the website, it is practically impossible for human involvement to take into play. Because it's just too many things happening at once. Humans are extremely limited, if you didn't notice that. We cannot act on trillions of searches all at one time. That just won't work. It's not realistic. So we give it to an algorithm to organize properly in a way where certain things are up top first because it's being searched more often than positive things. So that's just the main idea and the central idea in some of the questions that were asked during this conference. So, Another point I want to tag on to this is when it comes to certain things like bias. Also, I want to build up on that. Bias is a thing that the representatives were also questioning during this press conf. This testification, or I don't even think that's a word, but him testifying against Congress. The bias was also brought into question. Is Google acting upon its personal viewpoints, and is it being implemented within the search engine itself? And in my opinion, this is my personal opinion, I highly doubt that. At this point, Google has been an integral part in surfacing, millions and millions of people with their new searches. And there's a bunch of new stuff being searched every single day, and the sheer amount of people and the volume is just way too much to control within a confined, even a small team of like 12 to 16 people. That's impossible for someone of that magnitude, that much of a giant on the internet, to kind of control and filter out certain content. It's just not possible with that many people and the sheer amount of searches that are being generated every second, minute, hour, etc. So now, let's go on to another topic. Facebook. So, what about Facebook? Facebook collects data on people who don't have accounts. So, I also have that linked in the description below. Facebook, they do get information in regards to people's friends, people's friends, or people who are trying to get onto the platform who don't have an account. So for instance, if you ever tried that, I don't know if some of you have ever been able to do that, but when you go on a website and then you're redirected to Facebook, and once you're on Facebook, you don't have an account, and it prompts you to make an account, and then you go through Facebook without having an account. Yeah, they're collecting your data whether you like it or not. And the reason they're doing that is to service the protection of the users who actually have accounts. So let's say, for instance, I am a criminal on the internet, and I don't have an account, but I'm surfing the Facebook catalog of people that are there. And the people who don't have their accounts private and they have it selected as public, somehow I could hack into their account, steal certain information without actually me having an account on the platform. And Facebook collects data on me to prevent that from happening, or to help me in an instance where I am at fault, or I am being hacked, so that they can help me with the reinstating of my account, or with the helping of damages to see who it was, when it happened. And that's for the safety of the users. That's why it's there. That's why they collect certain information on people who just venture in on there without having an account. But I can also see how it's a very big negative, because people who unintentionally go onto that platform by accident, click a certain link they weren't supposed to, elderly people, some of our parents even, they don't understand that that's being collected on them. They have no idea that's happening to them. They just happen to land on Facebook by accident. How did that happen? Nobody knows. Do I want to know? Not really. That's their business. But in that regards, yes, the elderly people and the parent age, I would say, like, I don't know, 40s, around there, should be somehow notified that, listen, Facebook's collecting your data. You should probably know and be up to date with that. The ads which always run on these platforms like Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook, they're all targeted to our specific needs. Like I said, it's all based on things we like, things we've seen. So when it comes to data collection in terms of that, the reason they also collect our email address, our name, our age, they can categorize us in a certain demographic, and then with that information, the marketing can occur more efficiently on their end. They can easily dish out certain information towards, some people want to run ads, so they can easily identify the target audience that they want to cater to when it comes to dishing out certain advertisements. Because let's say you're starting up an Indiegogo campaign, and and it's about a headset that you want to market to a certain tech demographic, but then let's say you don't, Facebook or Instagram doesn't have the implemented tools to select a certain demographic you're trying to cater to. They don't provide you the accurate information, and boom, you're providing some high quality headphones to your 80-year-old grandma that doesn't even know what the hell she's looking at right now. You see, that's a negative scenario. It doesn't help out the people who want to advertise their products or certain services to a certain demographic. So that's also another reason as to why certain ads are targeted towards you, or certain ads, are always popping up and reoccurring within your timeline or feed. So now, the problem is we can't really do anything about this, because each time, like I said, we sign up for an account, we always consent to it. This is just how it is. Consenting to this type of information is literally just normal for us. It just happens out of nowhere. We don't even notice it. We don't even pay attention to it. And the tricky part is, all of this, everything that I've just discussed, and even more, is all written in the terms and service. The terms of service is millions and millions of pages with super tiny font that sadly nobody actually pays attention to. And I'm telling you right now, you should really pay attention to some of those things, especially when you barely glance over it and then you see it's a big font and it's actually not that long. I would recommend to take some time to actually pay attention to what's being written there and what's being told to you, instead of blatantly ignoring it and just brushing off the side saying, I don't have time for that. Okay, if you don't have time for that, then in the future, when this company is coming out saying, listen, we take your data, and you get mad about it, you have no right to be mad about it, because you blatantly said before you don't have time and you don't want to be bothered with reading that type of information. So that's the main idea of this video. You have to read the terms and conditions from now on. It's 2018. There's too many sketchy things coming out there. You can't really trust some of these website developers, some of these app developers anymore with the certain information that they gather from you. It's not safe to assume that all these companies have a good agenda. It's not safe to assume that they're going to use it for the correct reasons. It's not safe to assume that they have the same proposed morals that some of us have. So I want to leave off with always saying to consistently and intelligently make certain decisions that could be differentiated in two sides, good and bad. The good stuff that you should post and the bad stuff you shouldn't post. Some of the data that is collected you should be knowledgeable of. You should always stay up to date on certain topics that are actually occurring. So I kind of want to end this with saying we can no longer just go on any app, go on any website without having certain stuff being recorded from us. All of our data is now out there. It's probably been going on and being collected for well over a decade now, since the big boom of the internet with all social media. They have so much information on all the people that have ever signed up onto each platform, and by now they've got this down. The marketing is down, some of the target marketing is down, and you just gotta be more careful and wary on what you sign up for and what information you want public and what information you want private. I suggest always looking into your settings and looking at exactly what is being taken from you and exactly what is not being taken. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all your feedback, and please let me know what you think of the video. Peace out, guys.